Most homeowners spend thousands of dollars hiring a landscaper for one single job that you can do yourself in a single weekend for less than $50. That job is garden edging, and here's the part nobody tells you. The line between a yard that looks like a magazine cover and a yard that looks messy and unfinished has almost nothing to do with your plants. It has to do with one thin strip of material most people completely ignore. There's a reason high-end landscapers charge so much for edging alone. It is the single fastest way to make any yard look intentional instead of accidental, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. In this video, I'm giving you 25 unique garden edging ideas that real DIY lovers are using right now to transform their yards without spending a fortune. We're going deep. Materials, costs, installation tips, and the mistakes that ruin most edging projects. And stick around for number 19 because it is a method almost nobody talks about, and it might completely change how you think about small yard spaces forever. Before we start, quick thing. I post new budget-friendly yard transformation ideas every single week, and a lot of them never make it to the algorithm unless you're subscribed. If you skip this, you're genuinely going to miss ideas that could save you hundreds of dollars on your next project. So hit subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. Okay, let's get into it. 1. Brick soldier course edging. Bricks set on their end in a row are called a soldier course, and it is one of the oldest edging styles in the book for a reason. It creates a strong, clean vertical line that holds mulch and soil back without shifting over time. The trick most people miss is depth. You need to bury at least a third of the brick below grade or it will lean within a year. Use a string line and a level for every single brick or the whole row will look crooked from a distance, even if each brick seems fine up close. Here's a fact most people don't know. Reclaimed bricks from demolition yards are often cheaper than new ones, and they already have the weathered look that designers charge extra to fake. Coming up next is an edging idea that costs almost nothing and uses something most people throw away. Glass bottles buried neck down in a row create a wavy, colorful border that catches light in a way no other material does. You need uniform bottle sizes for a clean look, and the necks should be buried deep enough that only about 2 inches show above soil. Green and brown bottles are the most durable outdoors because darker glass resists UV fading better than clear glass. The surprising fact here is that this technique dates back to Depression-era gardens, when people reused everything, and it is now trending again because of how sustainable and cheap it is. Next up is an edging style borrowed straight from Japanese garden design, bamboo rail edging. Bamboo edging gives you that clean Japanese garden look without needing an entire redesign of your yard. Short bamboo poles are lined up vertically or tied together horizontally to form a natural fence-like border. The key is sealing the cut ends with a clear exterior sealant, or the bamboo will absorb moisture and rot from the inside out within 2 seasons. Pressure-treated bamboo edging rolls are available at most garden centers, and they hold up far longer than raw bamboo you cut yourself. Most people do not know that bamboo is technically a grass, not a wood, which is why it resists splitting the way regular wood stakes do. Quick question for you. What is the biggest edging mistake you have made in your own yard? Think about it for a second, because I bet a lot of you have a story. If you're enjoying these ideas so far, make sure you're subscribed, because the next few get even more creative, and I do not want you to miss the ones coming later in this list. 4. Corten steel edging. Corten steel is the material every modern landscaper is obsessed with right now. It rusts on purpose, forming a protective orange-brown layer that never needs painting or sealing again. The reason it looks so clean in modern yards is the thin profile. Steel edging can be as narrow as 1/8 of an inch, which creates an almost invisible line compared to bulky plastic or stone borders. Installation involves hammering in stakes along a flexible steel strip, and it can curve into any shape without kinking. Here's something most people never realize. That rust layer actually protects the steel underneath from corroding further, so the material basically preserves itself once it develops its patina. Next is an idea using something you probably have sitting in your garage right now. 5. Reclaimed roof tile edging. Old clay roof tiles set on an angle create a scalloped wave pattern that instantly gives a yard a Mediterranean feel. Salvage yards often sell these for almost nothing because most people do not think to repurpose them. You angle each tile into the soil at roughly a 45-degree tilt, overlapping slightly like fish scales. This creates natural drainage channels, so water does not pool against your border the way it does with flat edging materials. The surprising fact is that clay roof tiles are more weather-resistant than most modern edging products because they were originally designed to survive decades of direct sun and rain on a rooftop. Coming up is a method that uses light itself as part of the edging. 6. Solar capstone edging. This combines function and beauty by embedding small solar lights directly into flat capstones along your border. During the day, it looks like simple stone edging. At night, the entire border glows in a soft line that outlines your garden beds automatically. The install is simple. You lay a compacted gravel base, then set flat capstones with pre-drilled solar cap fittings snapped into place. No wiring is needed since each light charges independently during the day. Most people are shocked to learn these solar caps now last 5 to 7 years on a single unit, thanks to improved lithium battery technology, which is a massive jump from the older solar lights that died within one season. All right, real talk for a second. Does your yard currently have any edging at all, or is it just grass fading into mulch? Comment your answer because I genuinely read every single comment and I want to know where you are starting from. And if this list is giving you ideas already, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button because the second half of this video has some of the most unusual options I have ever covered. Quick one before we continue. Drop your city or country in the comments. I love seeing where this community is watching from, and it helps me understand what climates and yard styles to cover more in future videos. 7. Corten steel ribbon curves. Different from the straight steel edging earlier, this uses long, flexible ribbons of thin steel bent into smooth, flowing curves for organic-shaped garden beds. It is the go-to method for anyone tired of straight, boxy lines in their yard. Because the steel is so thin, it can bend into S-curves and circles that plastic edging simply cannot replicate without kinking or cracking. Professional installers use a rubber mallet and stakes every 18 inches to hold the curve exactly where you want it. The fact most people miss is that this material was originally developed for shipping containers because of how well it resists corrosion, which is exactly why it thrives buried in wet garden soil for decades. Next is one of the cheapest options on this entire list. 8. Rope and stake border. A rope strung between short wooden stakes gives a soft nautical or cottage garden feel for almost no money at all. It won't physically hold back mulch the way solid edging does, but it works beautifully as a visual boundary for flower beds and walkways. Marine-grade rope is worth the small upcharge because it resists UV breakdown and mildew far better than standard cotton or synthetic rope from a hardware store. Stakes should be spaced close together, about every 2 feet, to keep the rope from sagging in the middle. Here's the surprising part. This exact style was standard in seaside New England gardens for over a century, and it is now trending again on social media as a low-effort, high-charm option. 9. Living boxwood edging. Instead of a physical material, this uses tightly planted dwarf boxwood shrubs trimmed into a clean, low hedge line. It is technically a plant-based border, but it functions exactly like edging by creating a defined line around beds and paths. Dwarf boxwood grows slowly, which means less maintenance trimming compared to regular boxwood, but you do need to plant them close together, roughly 12 inches apart, for the hedge to fill in as one continuous line instead of separate bushes. Most people do not realize boxwood can live for over 100 years with proper care, which means this edging idea is essentially a permanent investment that only gets more impressive with age. Here's a personal question. If you had to pick just one edging style from this list so far, which one would actually fit your yard? Really think about that because your answer might be different than you expect once you picture it in your own space. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time because the ideas from here forward get a lot more unexpected. 10. Recycled rubber edging. Made from old tires, this edging is flexible, bends into any curve, and survives freeze-thaw cycles better than almost any other material on this list. It's a favorite among gardeners in colder climates where regular stone or concrete edging tends to crack every winter. Because rubber flexes instead of cracking, it handles ground movement from frost heave without breaking. Installation is as simple as pushing stakes through pre-made holes along the strip. The fact that surprises most people is that a single edging strip can be made from the equivalent of one full recycled tire, which makes this one of the most environmentally friendly options on the entire list. 11.
Stacked fieldstone edging.
Natural fieldstone stacked without mortar creates a rustic, timeless border that looks like it has always been part of the landscape. This dry stack method relies purely on the weight and shape of the stones to stay in place. The key skill here is selecting stones with at least one flat side so they sit stable when stacked 2 or 3 high. Larger base stones go on the bottom, with progressively smaller stones on top for stability. Most people do not know that dry stacked stone walls and edging can actually last for centuries without any maintenance because there's no mortar to crack or crumble over time the way modern materials do. Coming up is an idea perfect for anyone who loves a cottage garden look.
12. Scalloped concrete edging.
Pre-formed scalloped concrete pieces create that classic wavy border you probably remember from your grandparents' backyard. It's come back in style because it's incredibly cheap and available at almost every hardware store. For a cleaner, modern look, many DIYers now paint or stain these pieces instead of leaving them the default gray, which completely changes how dated or fresh they appear. The surprising fact is that this exact scallop design has barely changed since the 1950s, which makes this one of the only edging styles that has stayed in continuous production for over 70 years.
13. Log round edging. Slices of tree trunk set on end create a rustic woodland border that works especially well for shade gardens and wooded lots. Each round is essentially a small wooden puzzle piece pressed into the soil in a row. You need to treat the bottom of each log round with a wood preservative or it will rot within 2 to 3 years in damp soil. Locust and cedar rounds last significantly longer than pine because of their natural resistance to decay. Most people are surprised to learn that cedar rounds can last 15 to 20 years untreated, which is far longer than most people expect from a wood-based border. 14. Gabion basket edging. Small wire cages filled with stone create a modern industrial edging style that is both sturdy and visually striking. This is essentially a miniature version of the large gabion retaining walls used in commercial landscaping. The wire baskets are simple to assemble and you can fill them with whatever stone matches your yard, from smooth river rock to sharp crushed granite, giving you full control over the final look. The fact most people miss is that gabion structures were originally developed for riverbank erosion control, which is exactly why they handle water runoff in garden beds so well. 15. Terracotta pot edging. Small terracotta pots buried on their side in a row create a playful, whimsical border unlike anything else on this list. Half of each pot stays visible above the soil, creating a repeating curved pattern down the length of your bed. You want to use thicker walled pots since thin, cheap terracotta can crack under soil pressure within a single season. A light sealant on the exposed rim also helps prevent the classic white mineral staining terracotta gets over time. Most people do not realize this style actually originated as a way for gardeners to repurpose cracked or chipped pots instead of throwing them away, which makes it one of the most resourceful ideas on this entire list. Second one for you. Out of everything so far, which item has surprised you the most? Comment the number below because I genuinely read every comment, and I want to know which of these ideas is landing the hardest with this audience. 16. Sunken trench edging. Instead of adding a material at all, this method simply cuts a clean, angled trench between your lawn and garden bed using a spade or an edging tool. It is the oldest, cheapest, and most overlooked edging method that exists. The trick is maintaining the trench. A single sharp edging pass every few weeks keeps grass from creeping into your beds, and it needs almost no cost at all beyond your own time and effort. The surprising fact here is that professional landscapers still use this exact method on high-end properties because a crisp trench line often looks cleaner than manufactured edging material when it is maintained properly.
Interlocking paver edging. Small interlocking concrete pavers snap together to form a strong, flat border that doubles as a mowing strip. This means your mower wheel can roll directly along the edge without you needing to trim grass by hand afterward. The base preparation matters more than the pavers themselves. A compacted sand and gravel base prevents shifting and settling, which is the #1 complaint people have with paver-based edging after just one winter. Most people do not realize a proper mowing strip like this can save several hours of trimming time per month once your entire border is installed correctly. Willow weave edging. Thin, flexible willow branches woven between short stakes create a soft, natural fence-like border, often called wattle fencing. It has been used in English cottage gardens for hundreds of years. Fresh-cut willow is the most flexible for weaving, but it will eventually dry and lose some flexibility, so many DIYers now buy pre-dried willow specifically sold for this purpose, which weaves just as easily once briefly soaked in water. The fact most people do not know is that this exact weaving technique dates back over 1,000 years and was originally used for actual livestock fencing long before it became a decorative garden feature. Inverted bottle wall trench. This is the one I promised you. Instead of just burying bottles neck down like item 2, this method creates a full trench lined with glass bottles laid on their sides, stacked 2 or 3 high, forming a see-through glowing wall when sunlight hits it from certain angles throughout the day. Here is why this one is different from everything else on the list. Most edging blocks light or simply sits there as a border. This method actually plays with light itself. Clear and light-colored bottles filter sunlight into your beds while creating a shimmering effect that shifts throughout the day as the sun moves. Landscape designers sometimes charge a premium for this exact effect using expensive glass block material, when the truth is, you can recreate it almost for free using bottles you already have at home. The part that shocks most people is that this technique can actually improve soil temperature regulation in the trench area because trapped air pockets inside the stacked bottles act as natural insulation, something almost nobody considers when they think of edging as purely decorative. Next up is an idea using a material most people associate with sidewalks, not gardens. Exposed aggregate edging. This uses a concrete mix with visible decorative stones exposed on the surface instead of a smooth painted finish. It gives a textured, natural stone appearance while still having the strength and permanence of poured concrete. The process involves pouring the concrete border, then washing away the top layer before it fully cures, which exposes the aggregate stones underneath. This has to be timed carefully because washing too early or too late changes the final texture significantly. Most people do not know that exposed aggregate has been used in commercial sidewalks for its slip resistance, which is exactly why it performs so well as garden edging in wet or icy conditions. Mirror shard mosaic edging. Small pieces of broken mirror or colored glass set into a concrete or mortar edging base create a dazzling border that catches and reflects light throughout the garden. This is a favorite among artistic DIYers who want their yard to feel like a genuine art piece. Safety matters here more than any other item on this list. Edges need to be either tumbled smooth or embedded deep enough into the mortar that no sharp glass is exposed above the surface. The surprising fact is that this exact mosaic technique traces back to ancient Roman and Byzantine garden design, where broken tile and glass were considered valuable decorative material rather than waste. Corrugated metal edging. Small sections of corrugated metal roofing panel set vertically into the soil create a bold industrial farmhouse-style border. It's a favorite in rural and modern farmhouse yard designs because of how affordable and durable it is. Galvanized panels resist rust significantly longer than standard steel, which matters since this edging sits directly in damp soil year-round. Cutting the panels to a uniform height before installation is what keeps the final look clean instead of choppy. Most people are surprised to learn that this exact material is often left over from roofing projects, which means many DIYers get it for free directly from local roofing contractors. Painted tire edging. Old tires cut, flipped, and painted create a colorful budget edging option that has been a staple in home gardens for decades. It has a nostalgic reputation, but modern versions look far more refined than the classic version most people picture. The trick to making this look intentional instead of dated is using a single bold color and burying the tire deeper than half its height so it reads as a clean curved line rather than an obvious tire shape. The fact most people miss is that rubber tires can take hundreds of years to break down naturally, which sounds bad for landfills, but actually makes them one of the most physically durable edging materials you could ever choose for your yard. This uses low-growing succulent ground cover planted in a tight, defined line to create a soft green living border instead of a hard material edge. Sedum and creeping thyme are two of the most popular choices for this style.
These plants spread horizontally rather than vertically, which means they naturally fill in gaps over a season or two, creating a dense, continuous line without you needing to replant constantly. Most people do not realize that many of these ground cover varieties are drought-tolerant once established, which means this living border option can actually use less water than a regular lawn edge over time. 25. Mixed material layered edging. This final idea combines two or more materials from this entire list, like stone paired with steel or wood rounds paired with gravel, to create a completely custom layered border unique to your yard. It is the advanced technique that experienced DIYers move toward once they understand how each material behaves. The key to layering successfully is choosing materials with similar maintenance needs so one piece does not deteriorate significantly faster than the other. A steel and stone combination, for example, ages at a similar pace, which keeps the whole border looking cohesive for decades. The surprising fact here is that most professional landscape designs you admire online are almost never a single material. They're layered combinations exactly like this one, which is often the real secret behind yards that look expensive without actually costing a fortune. Here is the pattern running underneath every single one of these 25 ideas. Edging is never really about the material itself. It is about intention. A yard with zero edging can have beautiful plants and still look unfinished. A yard with clean, simple edging, even something as basic as a trench line or a rope border, instantly looks like someone cared enough to define it. That is the real secret professional landscapers do not advertise. You do not need an expensive redesign to transform your yard. You need one clear, defined line that tells the eye exactly where your garden begins. Every idea in this video, from wine bottles to Corten steel to a simple hand-cut trench, is really just a different way of drawing that same powerful line. If you want the next video where I break down the 10 cheapest full yard transformations under $200, that one is coming very soon and you do not want to miss it. Make sure you're subscribed so it lands directly in your feed the moment it goes live. Thank you so much for watching this whole video. I mean that. Now go grab a shovel, pick your favorite idea from this list, and go make your yard look incredible this weekend. I'll see you in the next one.